G'day guys, and welcome along to round 9 of the PlayStation Open Tier 2 series here on Race Spec Esports. I am Liam, aka Kickbutt Kiwi, and it is awesome to have you along for another evening of scintillating action and no doubt mayhem here at the Circuit of the Americas. We're joining quali a little bit late tonight. I was a tad disorganised, but that's okay. We've still got about 8 minutes of qualifying still to go, I believe, so plenty of racing still to come. I'll just make sure that the stream is linked in the Discord for everyone in the lobby so that no one is missing out on things, so just bear with me for a moment. Alright, looks like we are good to go. So, on track at the moment we have Seb on possibly a hot lap, coming through the the penultimate corner, and he loses the rear end, goes into the barrier, and well, it didn't take long, did it, for us to see some action. Within about a minute of qualifying, we've got probably one of the lead contenders going backwards through the penultimate corner, and into the pits he comes. Seb in the AlphaTauri sitting second on the leaderboard at the moment, just a fraction of a second behind RS Spitty, who sits top. We've got Honest Crook in the YouTube live chat saying that it's going to be a full wet race, so that will suit him to an absolute T. Honest Crook loves a bit of rain. Looks quite overcast in qualifying too, so I do wonder if there's going to be any drops of rain towards the end of the session. Of course, if that were to be the case, you would certainly want to get your lap times in early, and it looks like most drivers have done that. We've got 16 times set, about 5 minutes to go. Honest Crook asking, why do I listen to you? I always listen to you, Crookie. You are my guide in life, in absolutely nothing. But as we watch GeForce Server here navigate quite a bit of traffic, oh, he backs out, goodness me. We'll just do a quick recap of where we are in terms of what happened last race and also what is happening in the championship standing. So last race was in Japan at Suzuka. I was not there, but I have been reliably informed by the standings and our diligent statistics gurus that URL Ghost Rider won the Japanese Grand Prix, and he sort of came from nowhere to win that race. You see him down there at the moment in P12. We'll ride on board with him briefly while we talk about him. He came through and won pretty much out of the blue, I would say. He's not had a result like that at all so far this season, and he came through with a win. Second last week was GeForce Server, who we were just riding on board with. He might be coming through to finish a lap, and he is. He's done it very wide and then coming into the pits. I wonder if he invalidated or if he meant to do that. We may never know. But yes, GeForce Server came home with a well-earned second place last week, and in third place, and this will come as little surprise to those who've been following this championship recently, it was Anu Lloydie, who actually is missing tonight, but he last week got third place, and that was, believe it or not, his fourth third place in a row, which is quite extraordinary. I don't know what the odds would be on a driver achieving that, even if they're known to be consistent and a regular podium achiever, but that is quite a crazy statistic. So he will not be, sadly, competing for a fifth consecutive third place, and so an opportunity has arisen for other drivers to take that hallowed third position come the race just a little bit later on. Anu Lloydie is sitting well in the championship. We'll get to that shortly. Last week, Lieutenant, driving in the Mercedes tonight, as I believe he does every week. He came home in P4, and it was Seb, who we've talked a little bit about already, who came home P5. So, a bit of a variety in the results. last time out. Moving on to the championship standing, so it is Aniup Lloydie who, with that incredible consistency with 4 thirds in a row, he sits top of the Drivers' Championship for AlphaTauri on 121 points. Second place is Drell in the Aston Martin, who is on track currently and looks like he might be on a flyer. We may ride with him for a little while. He's sitting on 108 points, so 13 points behind Aniup. Third place in the standings is Dan the Racer on 104. Still very much in touch, of course. We've got, I think it's 7 races, including this one, still to go. In fourth place is Seb on 91 points, currently sitting second in this qualifying session. And in fifth place it is Honest Crook in the Red Bull, who is a bit of a mercurial character. He can be incredible one day and absolutely diabolical the next. We'll have to wait and see what Honest Crook turns up for tonight's Grand Prix. Not doing too well at the moment, sitting there in P16. Honest Crook DNF last week, so he'll be looking to bounce back and he'll be looking to get his championship charge back up and running. But up and running at the moment it is Drow, currently sitting on a 135.1. He's 4/10 off provisional pole, 5th position. What can he do on this lap? We'll bring up the relevant details so that we can hopefully track what he is doing. I'll get rid of that spectator menu, that is a right nuisance. I'm not sure what his sectors are doing. There's yellows in the final sector. Oh, he's run wide. Is he invalidated? Surely he's invalidated. He continued. Oh, no, that's an invalidation. He's invalidated possibly at the final corner. He did a 34.8, so that would have been good enough for P3. Can he go again? I can't see how much time's left in the session. It briefly appeared and then the yellows covered it up. But it's still RS Fitty sitting pretty at the top of the standings with a 34.7, but it's close. It is very close. Barely a tenth separating the top 3. And no, sorry, of course Drell will not be able to go again. He's completely out of battery and I don't think he's got time to go around. So one to watch could be G-Force Server. As long as he doesn't invalidate his hot lap he's about to start. He's got his full battery. Not much of a gap in front of him, but he'll get on the power, use all of the track. Has he just improved his time? I thought I saw his delta had improved possibly, but anyway, he looks like he's on a flyer. He's burning through the battery, so we'll follow him through the first sector. Incredible sequence of corners this. It's an absolute driver and fan favourite. You want to be carrying the highest minimum speed possible, nice and smooth, and it looks smooth from G-Force Server. Really, really nice. He's clearly got a good internet connection as well. Dan the Racer, I think, is he binned it, or is he? No, he's retired in the pits possibly, so he's in enough. No better than 10th for Dan. We'll see what G-Force Server can do. He's got some traffic. Now, will that slow him down? I think it's an AlphaTauri. Is that Seb in front of him? Yes, it is. It's Seb. So, the two guys in second and third. Master Jedi will finish no better than 4th. Not bad at all, though. But we'll see what these two can muster up. Seb's equal with his delta. I didn't quite catch what G-Force is doing. Honest Crook, what are you? He's 11 seconds off the pace. What is going on? Looks like G-Force Server has possibly dropped off Seb. So has Server made a mistake, or are my eyes deceiving me? We're going to find out in just 2 corners time as Seb rounds the penultimate corner using all of the circuit as you want to do. And then is he going to kiss the apex? Yes, he is. Very nice. A little bit wide from Server. What can Seb do? Comes across the line and he takes provisional pole. Server could not improve anywhere near enough. But Seb with the final, just about the final timed lap to be completed at the absolute death when it mattered. Seb comes across the line and edges RS Fitty by 10,000ths of a second. It's often close, and it was close again. AlphaTauri, Aniup's not here tonight, but Seb is flying the flag for the Italian team, and it is pole position for Seb. I don't know how many of those he's got this season. I don't think it would have been many. So an awesome result. For Seb, RS Fitty, we are learning, had wing damage, or got wing damage on his outlap, so the pressure was on. Spitty was only a 10th down with damage, so a bit of a missed opportunity, but hey, second is still a good place to start from. Nothing to be sniffed at. But it's Seb who gets the, what's it saying? He gets the biscuits? No, he gets something. I can't remember. Looking down the order, see if there are any sort of standouts. Ghost Rider, our winner from last race, all the way down in P15. Delayed, who I believe won this championship 2 or 3 seasons ago, down there in P17, struggling quite a lot. And of course, Honest Crook at the back, possibly setting times on the wet tyres, I'm going to assume, which is, hey, I'm not going to judge, but I am. That is absolutely terrible. Or he's just absolutely bottled qualifying. What was he on? He was on softs. Okay, anyway, enough of that. So top of the pile was Seb for AlphaTauri, RS Spitty second place, G-Force Server third. Then moving down the order, we've got Master Jedi 4th, Drowl in 5th, currently second in the championship. Then it's Cian Goat 6th, Crowjag 7th, Lieutenant 8th, Vladimir Putin 9th, and Glorious Noodle round out the top 10. Moving down from there, we've got Dan the Racer in 11th. You can expect him to try and move through the field. He's sitting 3rd in the championship, so certainly a little bit out of position there. Then it's Thangle or T-Hangle in 12th, Toto 13th, Bear 2.0 14th, Ghost Rider 15th, Miller 16th, Delayed 17th, and the Dishonest Crook in P18 off the back of the grid, going for the Driver of the Day trophy. So, intriguing qualifying session. And the biggest question, I think, is it going to be wet? As our unofficial weatherman has predicted. We will find out in just a couple of moments' time. And there's barely a cloud in the sky. Excellent. Well, the weatherman's fired. And we need a new one. That is average meteorological work right there. But hey, it still could rain actually. We don't know the forecast. So if anyone's watching the stream who should be focusing on their game and they want to give us a weather update, then feel free. Because otherwise we're completely guessing really. One thing I failed to notice was that Haas have got 2 cars on the front 2 rows. RS Spitty says no rain, so Honest Crook, box of shame for you, my friend. It's a bit of a shame. I do like some rain, but we see these boys at full tilt, maximum speed, as our viewership rockets on the formation lap. People not interested in the formation lap, they're on pause, they're watching the stream. G'day guys, thanks for tuning in. Just don't forget to switch back to the race when it's time to go. Oh, it's beautiful first sector, that one. It's something that never gets old, watching the cars go through there, even just at formation lap pace. Alright, tyre time in terms of checking who is starting on what, and a couple of interesting choices in there. The majority of the field are on medium tyres, as G-Force Server goes very wide out of the corner before the big back straight. RS Spitty is starting on soft, so maybe an aggressive strategy. Will he be going for an extra pit stop? Potentially. I'm not sure. Then you've got another extreme with Glorious Noodle. Glorious a noodle as he is. He's starting on the hard tyres. That is a alternative choice. And will it pay off? Is this a track where tyre wear is problematic? You know what, I think it potentially could be. I don't know that it's a super long pit lane, so maybe... Although, yeah... Oh, as I say that, he's doing some grass cutting, so... We'll keep an eye on Glorious Noodle and RS Spitty in particular, 2 guys in the top 10 who are going for very different strategies, it appears. And then down the order we've got another couple, so we've got T Miller on soft and Delayed, who will be delaying his first pit stop due to running the harder compound, and Honest Crook just middling it with the mediums starting from P18. So Moving to the front of the grid. Seb warming up those tyres as late as possible. Trying to keep that temperature in those Pirelli mediums, and he'll line up on the grid, a little bit angled to the left. He's got a good position. Looks like Spitty does as well. Server is bottled it. He's about a metre behind his mark. Solid spot from Jedi and Drowl as well. Yes, some straggler comes through. That's Glorious Noodle deciding to join us on the hard tyres, but we're just about ready to go here at the Circuit of the Americas. Tension builds. The cars are stationary. Temperature's increasing. 3 lights, 4 lights, 5 red lights, and we are racing in America up the hill. And it looked like, oh, there's chaos at the back, but it looked like a good start from Spitty. Spitty might have the jump here on the inside of Seb, and it's a great move from Spitty to take the lead of the US Grand Prix. I don't know what's going on because the camera work is, as usual, absolutely diabolical. Is that Glorious Noodle in P4? What am I witnessing? Glorious Noodle out of nowhere, capitalizing on untold chaos in the mid and lower field, has jumped up to 4th. Dan the Racer, what's happened to him? He's had enough. Is he? Or is he just disconnected? Okay, he still might be there. But anyway, RS Spitty has boosted from the 2nd place grid slot. He's leading the race by 1.2 seconds, already out of DRS range. Then it's Seb back in 2nd. GeForce Server has maintained 3rd, and he's close behind. Someone might have spun out of the hairpin there, and it looks like Server's going to go for a move on Seb. Easy as you like. Same compound of tyres. But Server moves up to 2nd, so a bit of a difficult start for Seb. He just needs to try to settle down here and consolidate. It's a long race. There'll be a lot of attrition, a lot of mistakes. He just needs to settle down and back his pace. Glorious Noodle sitting pretty in 4th. Seeing Goat 5th. Master Jedi drop down to 6th. Then it's Lieutenant. Bit of a gap back to Vladimir Putin. Ghost Rider's jumped all the way up to 9th, and Drowl in 10th, all over the back of last week's race winner. So all sorts of change going on early on as Drowl just explores the track limits. So RS Spitty, you'd have to say, oh, there's something's going on at the back. It's Toto. Toto's around on his own in the McLaren. It's an interesting livery on that car. So he's facing the wrong way. Oh, Honest Crook's got wing damage. Team Miller the same, and Dan the Racer will rejoin us. So yeah, a bit of a blow for those boys down the order, but we'll see if they're able to make a comeback, especially with a safety car. Meanwhile, up the front, Spitty is on the pace, very much so. You'd expect it on those soft tyres, but man, he has built a gap. 2.4 seconds, 2.6, it just goes up. 2.7 under traction out of that slow corner. He is just absolutely tearing away from GeForce Server. Ooh. Drowl and Ghost Rider battling. Ghost Rider covering the inside. Drowl looking around the outside. The key is not to lose your wing in these battles. So it can be absolutely race ending. Oh, Noodle spun. Glorious Noodle. Oh, he spun on the formation lap, and now he's spun on lap 2. Those hard tyres, he just wasn't able to maybe get them in the temperature window or just get confident with them, because he's lost it under the sort of edgy traction area of that long, fast right-hander with heavy fuel, and he drops all the way down to P14. Oh, that's gutting after all of that early progress as well. Very, very unfortunate for him. But you'd have to say preventable error as well. We'll bring up a customary position change to see exactly who's done what, as what's going on there. Lieutenant's all over the back of C and Goat. Let's see if he can line up a move down the straight. He's on his battery. C and Goat is also on the battery. C and Goat is absolutely torn through his ERS. That may come back to bite him. But yeah, big movers early on as we watch this battle between the two Mercedes cars. Ghost Rider. Hang on. Did I get my drivers mixed up before? So Ghost Rider, no, Ghost Rider's on the mediums. He's jumped up 7 positions. Did Glorious Noodle start on the hards? I think he did. Okay, so yeah, he had made some progress. I might have been mixing up Glorious Noodle and Ghost Rider. But yeah, the AlphaTauri has made big progress, and he might be smelling a second great result in 2 weeks. Moving down, we've got Delayed, who's come up 6 positions. And then from there, there's unfortunately a number of drivers who've lost out. Obviously, Seb has... what's going on with the... Trails. Lots of pressure on Mr. Ghost. But yeah, Seb's lost a couple of spots, and then we've got Drell and Crowjag down a few, and then further down the order, Dan the Racer has obviously lost a fair bit with his possible disconnect and Glorious Noodle with that spin. So riding on board now with Drell. All over the back of Ghost Rider, and in fact moving up the inside, so I think Ghost Rider went a little bit deep into the hairpin. The Drell will get into a slipstream, but both of them are low on battery, so it might take a little bit of a dive bomb here from the Aston. No, goes down the outside as Ghost Rider defends. Oh, can they avoid contact? Can they give each other enough room? It looks like Drell might have the inside. He's going to have to send it. No, backs out of it, but Ghost Rider goes deep. Oh, it's so easy to... Oh, and they've spun. That's exactly what I was worried would happen. It's so easy to turn someone, and Drell has had contact with Ghost Rider, and it's hard to say on first look who was clearly at fault, but I suspect the car on the left, whoever that was, maybe needed to give a little bit more room, but then the car on the right had his nose stuck in, so the stewards will need to be having a look at that. Drell will continue. He's got a penalty, I think, for track extension. Just up ahead of him, we're looking at Latimer in the second Aston Martin. Heavy on the power, you hear the engine revving there. So easy to lose the back end of these cars in this game. Further ahead, Lieutenant is all over the back of Master Jedi. Now, will he go for a lunge here, or will he possibly wisely wait? And he does wait. Looks to get a good exit. It looks like a good exit, does it? Oh, a little bit slow actually in the latter phase of it. So Jedi gets ahead, but Lieutenant has DRS and the car ahead does not. So it should be a pretty regulation change of position. Yeah, and through goes Lieutenant. Nice and easy. And that sets him free to chase after Seb, who's now 5 seconds up the road. The top 3 have slightly cut away here. Just wonder if Ari Spitty's softs are starting to cry out a little bit. We'll head forward and just keep a little eye on this battle. Seb is within DRS range of service, so he gets that free extra speed down the straight, and he can save his battery. Does he have a battery advantage over G-Force Server? Yes, he does. That's not entirely surprising. Bring up telemetry and stuff, because that's always handy. But yeah, that gap from RS Spitty to G-Force Server is 100% coming down. It was 2 seconds about half a lap ago, and it's now under a second, and that gap is dropping every corner by a tenth or more. I think Spitty's just starting to struggle. Battery situation here, Spitty is low on ERS, he's absolutely burning through it, whereas Server just needs to sit within DRS range and wait for his moment. Look at Spitty all the way out on the curb, all 4 tyres over the curb. I don't know if that's quicker or not. Going for the Max Esports line, and oh, they've both cut the corner, I think. G-Force Server gets himself a 3-second pen on lap 6 of the race. That is so early. I think Spitty's holding Server up because Seb is... It's now a 3-way battle for the lead. They're all within a second of each other. And yep, RS Spitty said, no, that's enough. You're not getting free DRS from me. You're just going to pass me. So he comes into the pits. And now Seb will be all over the back of G-Force soon enough. Now what tyres will Spitty go onto? This will be interesting. Hards, would Hards get to the end of the race? Maybe. If it's mediums, he'll have to stop again, I'm almost certain. And he goes softs. Oh my word. That could be almost a 3-stopper. Interesting. Okay, we'll see. We'll watch his progress because he has pitted from the lead. Now we won't expect an immediate response from G-Force Server or Seb, of course, because they're on the medium tyres, so they're going for a different strategy. They'll be staying out longer. The Spitty, of course, will be quicker than them for a number of laps on the fresh softs, but it looks like Spitty is banking on pitting at least one more time than these two. So, yeah, vastly different strategies, and it's not clear at this point how it's all going to play out, but we will find out soon enough. Spitty just tears past the Fangle. Oh, and Ghost Rider's in the wall. Oh dear. His race has gone from bad to worse, and he's on his battery. Oh dear. That is not good at all. Very unfortunate to see that. We'll go back on board with RS Spitty, who is on an absolute mission. He'll go for a dive here. You're always, every day of the week. Uh-oh.